Good morning everyone, and welcome back to another Krebs Coho Company of Heroes cast. Today we're going to be doing a 2v2 match on the map McGechans War. As you guys can see, dusk is just swiftly breaking out upon the world. The sun is just slightly inching itself away up in the horizon, whilst the night sky is rolling away on the opposite end of the horizon. Everyone is just waking up in this countryside that we call McGechans War. The Brits, the Tommies in the bottom right corner, either just woken up from their nightly sleep or maybe just their nightly march, just moving on forward into unfamiliar territory and not knowing what's going to be ahead of them. Just a very, very strange world. This is very peaceful, as you guys can see. Just nothing moving, everything is untouched, and just the world is waking up. So today, what we've got is one Brit going by the name of InsaneMove. His partner is going to be the American aSIISmoggy. Okay, and they're going to be playing on the northern corner. In the southern corner, what we have are two PE players, I believe. Yes, two PE players, AtomicIXeCuteR and his partner, AtomicAllGunsBlazing. Alright, so this is going to be a 2v2 auto match for you guys to enjoy. We're going to be starting in 3 seconds for all of you who are watching it in replays. We're at the 5-second mark. And starting in 3, 2, 1, and let's begin. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, and now we go to another very exciting matchup in the Company of Heroes battlefield. It's quite quiet at the moment. I don't know, I really like the scenery on this map. I mean, you know, sometimes I'd like to do this at the beginning of a map where I just take a quick, you know, sideways horizontal view of the map. And, you know, try to find something scenic, but man, oh man, I don't really have to find anything scenic on McGechans War. I mean, the sun, the lighting in the horizon is just absolutely gorgeous. You can just tell how amazing this sort of dusk theme looks like on this map. Great, spectacular stuff. Well, we've got right from the get-go, we've got the, not the Americans, the PE jumping straight on up to the fuel points, as you guys can see over here, just jumping straight on over to the fuel points. Now, before I just get on started with all of this sort of strategy and everything at hand, what's going on, I need to let you guys know a quick message, alright? It's not going to be long, and it's going to be Company of Heroes related, don't worry. I'm not going to be talking about anything that's happening in pharmacy at the moment, or, I don't know, just sort of symptomatic problems that people are having. No, not like that. Well, I've actually released, and I announced this on my Facebook page and also a few forums, such as Game Replays and Company of Heroes, is that I'm going to be holding an event for you guys to enjoy this coming weekend. It's going to be this Saturday, 24th of March, and I'm going to be holding an event, and basically what it is co-madness. I'm going to be playing games with you guys, and it's not going to be sort of standard games. I'm going to be playing one round of 4v4 with all of you, and I'm also going to be doing games of their own theme. For example, the second round will be all infantry, the third round will be snipers only, and every single round has its own theme, these sort of games I've devised. And basically what's going to happen, I'm going to live stream it, so all of you can watch it, but you can also partake in it at the same time. We've already got 12 confirmed. This is the first official announcement I'm doing on this channel, so if you want to perhaps get involved with this co-madness this weekend, I'm hopefully going to be doing this every weekend, depending on what the response is like, but I'm hopefully going to get at least 100 people or so involved in this. If you're interested in something like that, if you want to watch a live stream or actually be part of the live stream, then on you go. I'm going to provide a link in the description box below to where you can see the actual announcements, and you guys can decide for yourself. I mean, it's going to be great fun. We're going to be having voice chat, we're going to have text chat, I'm going to be playing with you guys, and it's just going to be good stuff. It's going to be available to all skill levels, and it's going to be purely fun. No sort of competitiveness, it's just going to be purely fun, alright? So if that's what you're looking for this weekend, head on over to the description or the link in the description below, alright? Okay, so over onto the match at hand. We've got the PE who have kind of made a dirty attempt at connecting up their points right here. As you guys can see, they've only connected up the vital points. They've gone strictly for the fuel points, with also some of the munitions just stretched out over here. I think the reason that they're actually doing this, like, mind you, for example, they're totally avoiding the manpower points, for example. The reason that they're doing this is most likely to prevent the Brits from actually putting down their HQ on some sort of stupid place in the near the front, right? And that's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to prevent the Brits from putting down their HQ somewhere near the actual battlefield, or else, you know, obviously if you have this sort of advantage of just having the base right at the battlefield, it's so easy for your guys to be reinforced, and so the PAP are trying to stop that from happening, okay? So they've managed to successfully do that to some extent. However, the Brits have actually parked down their buffs on the HQ on top of the fuel point over here, the medium fuel point, and so it's taking in plus 18. Pretty good indeed, because what we've seen with the PE is that they've went straight for the fuel point, so that means that they're going to have quite a bit of an advantage at the moment in terms of their actual fuel rate. So at least they're going to be sort of leveling the playing field by having this HQ on the fuel point. If you guys don't know by now, which you should from all of my casts, a lot of Brits tend to put their HQ on a munitions point so they can upgrade their infantry sections with weapons such as Bren guns or grenade launchers, for example. Grenade launchers. So as soon as they can. But obviously with this going on, with the fast fuel coming out for the PE, they have had to sort of divert their choice onto a fuel point, and so they can at least keep up with the PE at the moment, right? Very fast teching from the PE. What we have from... let's actually head on over to them. I'm going to give the allies some love, don't worry guys. I know it seems like I'm a little bit biased at the moment, but don't worry, I will be heading over to the allies in just a second here. What the PE, what one of them has, is that he's actually gone for, I believe, a logistics company. Indeed, because he's got a scout car, so if you head on over to Executor, he's got the logistics company, also Panzerjäger Command, going straight on up to armored cars. He's got those scout cars right there. As you guys can see, it's also upgraded because it has this sort of wireframe around it with that turret on top. And so he's effectively locked down the sector. As you guys may notice by this fuel point, it's plus 18 now, and he's right on the edge of it, so he's maintained a hold of it. Kind of good if you ask me, because now these Brits can't actually grab it if they still want to, because they easily could, considering that the Bren carrier over here is upgraded and really pounding away at everything. So at least the PE are sort of holding on to their stance at the moment here. We've got the engineers just trying to help this Bren carrier, saving it from actually, you know, getting its own repairability using that munitions cost. You might as well do it for free if you have an engineer, right? If your enemy or ally is an American, you might as well just do it for free. It only makes sense. Good usage by the scout car to actually take on those engineers and just kill them while they were being repairing that Bren. If all those engineers, probably a better idea to go on the back side of that Bren carrier, not the front where they were completely exposed to that scout car, right? So on over to Blazing, AtomicAllGunsBlazing. What he's gotten is 4 Panzer Grenadiers, and he also had something else that just blew up over there. Oh god, I wasn't really paying attention. Oh, no, I was paying attention. It was the infantry half-track, and so he went for that straight on up from his Kampfgruppe company, as you guys can see here. He's also jumping on up to a Panzer support command. So what we have for the PE is that AtomicIXeCuteR has gone for T1 to T3, with his partner AtomicAllGunsBlazing going for T2 to T4. Interesting sort of stuff. Basically, that's going to allow the sort of advantages of the PE to shine right there. Reason being is that if you go for T1, T3, you're going to get armored cars, and so you're going to be especially good against anti-infantry. If you go for T1, T4, then you'll probably be getting the half-track, the light AT half-track, and so that'll be better at taking on sort of these lighter vehicles out at the moment, such as the Bren carrier over here. So that's a good choice by the PE. I love what they're doing. Also, now let's head on over to the allies and see exactly what they are up to. Now, I have to commend them as well, because they were doing some pretty smart stuff about mixing up the, you know, the best of the Americans' abilities with the Brits, for example, because we had the engineer repairing the Bren carrier, saving it from actually having to spend munitions to repair it. So, I like that sort of stuff. I like the cooperation between factions here. Good usage of the light AT half-track to take down the Bren carrier. Very unfortunate for the Brits that actually happened. It's kind of unfortunate because they were so close to taking out this one scout car right there and then. It's unfortunate they couldn't have at least done that, because that would have severed quite a few hundred, I think it's like 200 and something odd manpower to actually afford a scout car, and plus all the munitions on top of it. So it would have been good to at least take that out, because obviously every kill that you can make is going to help. Oh gosh, I just noticed all the cattle that are dead on the map. Was that really necessary? I think these cattle are... Oh god, the detail in these cattle corpses are more than the cadavers of the actual men that blow up sometimes. Oh gosh. Very grief-stricken and bloodied cows. Oh my god. This one was shot in the head. Oh my god. Why would you do that? Who would actually think in their normal head, why would we kill cattle? I thought they would at least leave the cattle alone. I mean, they were just happily here on the pasture. Oh well, anyway. Okay, so it looks like there's a trench down here with apparently the rifleman actually taking hold of it. So again, I'm going to be commending the Americans and the Brits here for actually capturing or using, again, the best effect of both factions. So putting down that trench from the Brits and getting the Americans in there. If the Brits aren't actually on the field at the moment, then you might as well just get your riflemen in there if you can, if you're the Americans. Okay, come on, get the riflemen out of there. No, they're not going to get out of there. In fact, we had a whole bunch of Panzer Grenadiers here focus firing them, and that entire rifleman squad is dead. Absolutely mauled apart. Oh gosh. Not looking too good for the Brits at the moment. What we have on the right hand side is just a bunch of stray capturing. Just a bit of Americans coming here to recapture the PE's territory because they have maintained a decent hold over here. Nothing really in terms of defenses, just capturing and nothing else. That's what I find actually quite common with McGechans War, is that not a lot of attention will be put or focused on the right hand side. It seems like most of the action, most of the battling actually funnels towards the center and the left hand side. Actually, it only makes sense because if you look on the right hand side, you got this gigantic sort of manpower point here that covers a good portion of the map, whereas on the left hand side you don't really have something like that. You've just got a lot of valuable points. So that's exactly why everyone's fighting over there. It only makes sense, doesn't it? Okay, so it seems like what we've got is a light Stuart tank coming out for the Brits right now. So that means we have the field support truck just out. This is going to be great to take on all of the half-tracks that the PE have at the moment. Be careful though, light AT half-track. That is a good counter against a Stuart. At the same time, Stuart's a good counter against a light AT half-track. Just really depends. I suppose they're a counter for each other, aren't they? But it just really depends who can outmaneuver the other person. At the moment, the PE have the advantage here. They've got two of these beasts. I wouldn't actually say they're beasts. They're more like micro beasts, if anything, out on the field to actually take on any tanks. Now, this is good because now the Stuart is going to have a difficult time of actually circumnavigating around the light AT half-tracks, and because there's two of them working together. I think we might have had some focused firing coming down. Yes, that looks like focused firing. If every shot, its next shot's going to land on one, that's focused firing. Okay, maybe it's not focused firing, or maybe he just ran out. I have absolutely no idea, but whenever the light AT half-track kills men, you can pretty much guarantee that that is focused firing, the actual munitions ability. Not exactly it just being lucky. I mean, when a light AT half-track shoots at infantry, by itself, just normally without any abilities, it's very, very inaccurate. I think like you would probably never get a kill on somebody just because it's that inaccurate. But when you have focused firing, it's pretty much 100% of the time. So I don't know, maybe he was actually using focused firing at the moment there. Anyway, right hand side taking a bit more flak here. I'd like to see the PE maybe get some cover. They were just taking away that point from the allies, and now they are running back. Now, I had this sort of theme of what this game is about, so this isn't really a spoiler or anything, but I have a sort of theme in my head. I've watched this replay the full length, and so what I want you guys to maybe keep in your mind is Expendable Army. So I already know what the title of this replay is going to be, this cast, before I even release it onto the channel. It's going to be an Expendable Army or something along that lines, because although it doesn't really make sense right now, what you're going to notice in the later game is just a mass amount of, I don't know, maybe not being too careful, maybe just using your units to do damage and just mass producing them. So you guys are going to understand this later on, but hopefully that has not spoiled it. It shouldn't have, because we don't really know exactly what's going to be happening here, right? Now what we have is also the Brits putting down a officer barrage right here. You got the lieutenant at the moment for throwing down an officer barrage right on top of all these vehicles, force retreating the PGs out of there. I suppose that's a good choice if you're going to have a lot of infantry. Maybe, I suppose it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of infantry when you go for this doctrine, but if you go for the Royal Artillery, for example. So are we actually on the Brits at the moment? InsaneMove, yes we are. I suppose it doesn't really matter if you have a lot of infantry, but if you have officers, for example, then they could throw down those artillery strikes, correct? And so they're very, very useful things to actually use. If you go for the Royal Artillery support, obviously you can actually, you're allowed to actually use that ability. Otherwise, you wouldn't be allowed to use it. It's definitely a good way of harassing your opponent. I noticed this happened to me a few times, for example, when I would have the PE. I especially find this more difficult with the PE, is that For example, your armored cars and all your half-tracks are so lightly armored, and when they're grouped up, then it makes them very easy to kill. So the amount of micro that you must have sometimes when you're playing the PE means that, you know, you have to have that micro there, or you could easily lose everything. And so I've noticed a few times, like in my games, for example, is that when an officer barrage comes down on top of, you know, my half tracks and stuff like that, you have to get away from there straight away. I mean, that's common sense, obviously, but with the PE especially, it's just you have to get out of there. There's no second thoughts about it. It's just you have to get out of there as soon as possible, because it is such a devastating ability. I mean, if the officer barrage can actually land on top of your vehicles, especially your half tracks and your armored cars, it could easily mean certain death, no problem, right? Martyr coming out from Atomic over here, and so this is going to be countering this Stuart to some extent. Not really finishing it off, but fair enough. I suppose the Stuart was getting a little bit too bold there. Perhaps just a bit too much over his belt that he could actually handle. I mean, he could probably have taken on that Martyr if he so choose to, but I mean, considering that there's an armored car right there and another Martyr over here, and also a light AT half-track, probably not a good idea. Probably a better idea it actually retreated. So good job by that, by InsaneMove for actually doing that. Oh my gosh, 14 minutes already into the game. I don't actually realize how fast the time goes here. I'm just like looking at everything that's going on, and I see an M10 and I'm thinking, whoa, has it really been that long? But apparently an M10 is just out on the field. Oh my gosh, the time goes by really, really fast here. M10 just coming out, so he's obviously gone for a bunch of buildings here. As you guys can see, he went for the barracks, then over onto motor pool, then onto the tank depot, and also now a WSC to finish it all off. Really every single building coming out for the Americans. Funny choice. That's every single building. Usually a lot of Americans don't go for that many buildings. But hey ho, if you so choose to, then I suppose that's what's going to happen. I could imagine that he would be going for the WSC to maybe get some snipers, for example, to counter these PG blobs at the moment. You know, the best counter against PGs is probably artillery or sniper barrages, right? Sniper barrages, no, a bunch of snipers. And so I suppose that's maybe what he's going to be doing. He's also got M10s out in the field, which is going to be great to counter this stuff to some extent. I mean, it's not going to be great when you're taking on two Martyrs, for example, is what we can see here by the smoldering wreck. So obviously the M10 failed on its own to take on two Martyrs. Not too good, because the Martyrs do a huge amount of damage. Quite weakly armored, but huge amount of damage if they so can actually do so, right? Okay, but this one is very badly damaged. Destroyed gun, destroyed engine. It's flaming. And an artillery strike landing many, many meters away there. You can just see it wasn't even, the edge of the crater wasn't even touching the Martyr, but still it took damage, and now it's just gone, spinning out of control. Probably going to take quite a while at this pace. So all these guys just hanging in for the ride. They're just sort of wondering, oh, why can we not control this? Why, Hans? Why is it not controlling itself? And we're going to find out in just a second that it's probably not a good idea to stay in a smoldering, out of control Martyr. When will they learn? When will they learn? Anyway, we've got the PE Panther Battle Group coming out for the PE. As you guys can see, the Panthers right there. And where's the other one? I have absolutely no idea. It's just down here. There we go. So fair enough. It looks like what this PE player has specifically is just two Panthers and a whole bunch of infantry. Literally a blob of infantry. So 4 PGs right there and there. Okay. And also the other PE have a bunch of support-like sort of units. You know, the scout cars, for example, the Luftwaffe. Also, just, yeah, pretty much that, the Luftwaffe. The Luftwaffe are really good sort of infantry. I absolutely love using these guys sometimes. Maybe, I would say the more inexperienced player would be quite reluctant to use the Luftwaffe because, you know, hey ho, they're not the best of units, for example, and all they can do is just put down emplacements. Maybe a lot of people would be reluctant to actually use the Luftwaffe, right? But I've actually seen them used to really good extent. I've actually seen some pro replays, for example, where the PE player would strictly use Luftwaffe as the main sort of infantry force, basically, as you can put it. As in, they would use hardly any Panzergrenadiers, and the main infantry force was the Luftwaffe, and they were actually really good because when you can get veterancy on these Luftwaffe, they become very, very hardy guys, and they're actually quite quite hard to take on at the same time, right? So, interesting idea to keep in your mind if you ever sort of want to look for a different strategy with the PE. Maybe go for a lot of it Luftwaffe, get some sort of veterancy out on them. For example, the defensive veterancy is never a bad idea. And there you go, these guys are going to be doing a really good job. I think a lot of people actually go for offensive veterancy with the Luftwaffe just because there's so many men in the squad already. So hey ho, you might as well just go for offensive and just be stronger, right? I've used it to great effect sometimes as well, right? Anyway, so the Brits have done a really good job here at pushing on the PE out of this area. As we can see on the minimap at the moment, the PE have a good hold of the right hand side and a good hold of the left hand side, whilst the Brits are just moving in and just trying to do as much destruction as they possibly can. I'm not exactly sure if I can agree with it. Like, they're doing a really good job of actually destroying a lot of the PE stuff, admittedly. I mean, they took out a whole bunch of vehicles, whole bunch of guys, but they haven't really been capturing anything. So where's the engineers? This is my question that's popping up right now. Where's the engineers to actually start capping everything? The American obviously started off with one engineer squad, and usually most people when they're Americans are gonna have 2 or 3 engineer squads in the game. So there's no excuse not to have one. I mean, they could easily, for example, when all of these guys are pushing in forward here, doing all these casualties, the engineers could come in through the backside and just capture stuff. Also, you know, officers, for example, or captains, if you're not using your captain because obviously you can't use the bonuses in enemy territory, then you might as well just be capping with it, and that would be a good idea, especially on the left hand side where there was no units at the time. But the PE have made a counter attack here, coming in from a pincer-like sort of attack. What we saw was one coming up from the south, and then these sort of Fallschirmjägers coming in from the right hand side. A pincer style attack. Love that sort of stuff. I love these sort of tactics when people combine their tactics and just bring everything onto the opponent and outmaneuver them. I think that's really a good show of gameplay, right? But still, the right hand side is quite uncontested. I mean, the Americans have, you know, they have a decent hold. They have some stuff over here, but the PE have quite a few points as well. I don't really understand why these guys, for example, don't put down some mines to defend the area. You know, that's always a good thing. For example, I mean, if you don't have, say if your main battle is on the left hand side of a map, say this could be any map, and your left hand side is always the main area of the battling. Then on the right hand side, where there's still not as many vital points but still some vital points, then you might as well just put down some mines there, prevent your enemy from capping them, or at least hassle them a bit. Because if a rifleman squad, for example, lands on a mine, then obviously they might take a lot of damage, quite a few casualties. And then if you had like a Panzer Grenadier squad that was around that area, they could easily sort of just aid in the defense, right? Otherwise they wouldn't be able to if that mine wasn't there. Oh gosh, okay, it looks like one man going down and he's waving to the sky. Oh god, I want to change my view here. Oh no, he's disappeared. Oh well. I wanted to take a closer look at him, but I guess not. Americans with the infantry doctrine, as you can see by the mines that they're placing down at the moment. 6 men placing down mines. Interesting stuff. Fair enough. They're not really digging or anything, just sort of bending their knees, and apparently a mine just displaced automatically. And there we go, infantry doctrine out by them. Infantry doctrine is probably going to lead up to some sort of howitzers. I mean, it almost inevitably does. A lot of people will maybe get, for example, some rangers, for example. But you know, a lot of people, if they tend to go for infantry doctrine, they probably go for it more so for the artillery and possibly the off-map combat group. At the very end. I mean, the off-map combat group is usually a last resort sort of thing, or maybe if you want to push off your enemy. I've seen it used to great effect. For example, if you lose a lot of your guys and your opponent has quite a bit, then sometimes if you're lucky, you can actually call out, you know, a few M10s or something. That might be the difference that you need to change the battle, right? Fallschirmjägers over here just protecting a little bit, but it looks like the PE are coming in. I have no idea if this is meant to be some sort of defense that they're coming in for, or if they're planning some sort of attack. Maybe another pincer-like formation. I have absolutely no idea. We gotta take a look what's gonna happen here, and maybe they're just gonna... Ooh, they are coming in for an attack. Yeah, it looks like it's gonna be coming in from multiple flanks. Very good usage of doing that. I love when people do this. I mean, a lot of times when you're watching newbie games, they'll just come in from the same direction every time. You know, they'll go in boldly into an MG and it's not going to work to great effect. But I love what the PE are doing here, just coming in from different angles, right? It's 192 points for the PE at the moment, 463 for the Allies. Allies are leading by quite a bit, so I think that's why the PE are just trying to maintain a hold of this right-hand VP right there, just because they need it. It's simple as that. They need it. They also need the center VP if they're going to stop the Allies from actually counting away at the victory points. Okay, so it looks like the Brits are coming in with force here. They're Fireflies in the back. Also, we've got the shotgun ability coming out from the Light Stuarts over here, killing quite a few of the Luftwaffe out on the field. Also, the Cromwell command tank just going down there, and so the Sherman Firefly is a lot more useless. I believe when the Sherman Firefly is next to a Cromwell command tank, it gets a plus 30% firing rates or something like that. It's for 30% faster. So it's not going to have that if the Cromwell command tank is dead. Doesn't matter, it's not going to be fighting as effectively, right? Okay, so there we go. Now, an interesting sort of thing that some people don't realize about this actual doctrine with the Brits, the Royal Artillery, for example, is that they can use different sort of abilities. For example, when you have the officer barrage, you call down artillery with your officers. You can only get that from the doctrine, right? But a lot of people don't realize that when you also have that ability activated from the doctrine, you can also use your Cromwell command tank to also throw down a smoke barrage. Okay, so sort of like a mortar smoke barrage. If you're ever going to be heading into a sort of front, for example, if you're going to be trying to hit your opponent's defensive line, then it's always a good idea to have that sort of initiative before you go in. That sort of, you know, defense here. I'm actually getting a little bit lost in the battling. I'm really interested to see who's going to win this. Sorry about that. Yeah, by throwing down a smoke barrage, it sort of leads up to your attack that you're going to have. Okay, Sherman Firefly going down. I'm not exactly sure why it just decided to just fail like that, but fair enough. I suppose it just wants to stay there. Maybe it was mobilized, but anyway. The Panther almost destroyed here. Veterancy 2 on it. Not looking too good. It looks like the Brits are going to be chasing it down because they realize, hey ho, we've got a free Panther over here that has Veterancy 2 on it, so it's going to be an easy kill, just about to die, and so we might as well just take it out while we can, right? Come on, Panther. I mean, it easily could have gotten away from this area if it just so choose to. Maybe, I'm not sure if it actually would have easily gotten away because that's a damaged engine, but it could have crushed the bushes and just start running as best as it possibly can. Maybe it actually wouldn't have survived considering that there's 2 AT guns right there. Not a good idea. And there we go, it's gone. What I would have personally done if I was in the position of the Allies, rather than getting the Brits to actually destroy it, what I would have done is actually use the AT guns to destroy it, because the Brits, if they don't have an officer nearby, they're not going to get veterancy. So you might as well get the veterancy on the AT guns where it's going to be particularly useful, right? Love what the Brits are doing at the moment. They're destroying the wrecks of the PE because they realize, oh my gosh, one of the benefits of the PE is that they can build a Brigadier, a unique unit of its own. No faction has anything like it. I mean, the Wehrmacht can use their sort of salvaging of munitions, but it's not going to bring back anything to life. The PE with the Brigadier is the only faction that can bring back a tank to life. And so, is there a Brigadier out on the field? Let's take a quick look over here. There you go, that is the Brigadier, and that's probably why. Okay, so whenever you're versing PE, especially double PE, it doesn't even matter if it's a double PE, just even a single PE player. Always, 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 if you're the Allies, destroy the wrecks. I mean, the wrecks are not going to be benefiting you in any way. Because, for one, you can't salvage the munitions from them. 2, you also can't bring them back to life like the Brigadier. Oh my god, all these corpses. How horrible. So, the PE are taking advantage of all these wrecks, all those vehicles that were destroyed earlier in this match. And this is what I mean. The Expendable Army. All those vehicles that were destroyed early in this match, they're bringing back to life. And this is what they're making. They're making an Expendable Army. Basically, all those kills that the Allies made before, it doesn't matter when you got a Brigadier, because you can just bring back all those wrecks to life. And that is a huge, huge very big importance. I mean, when you have a Brigadier out and you can manage to get a few vehicles back up, that is going to pay over itself many times over. I mean, admittedly, the Brigadier is quite an expensive unit. I don't exactly remember the exact specifics, but it is quite a costly unit. But still, even getting 2 Martyrs back up is going to pay for it, and that's as simple as that. It's an expendable. It's definitely, you know, you can't stress how much more I can't stress how much more the Brigadier is a very useful unit. It is highly recommended to actually get it whenever you possibly can. Officer Barrage coming down and killing all of these guys. Oh my god, absolute massacre over here. And so overall, I don't know, the PE, they're taking a lot of casualties. You can see all these wrecks here, but at the same time, the allies are not really doing any much better. If you look at it, their territories are being captured, they're being pushed back, despite all the casualties of the PE. If we look at the map for the PE at the moment, if you look in the bottom left-hand corner, maybe if I switch on over to one of the PE players, that's all the PE have. They have quite a few infantry, but most of their vehicles are pretty much gone and destroyed. And so, you gotta wonder, where are the allies going wrong? It's probably this expendable army, as I was saying, with the Brigadier, just bringing back everything to life. Alright, so the Brigadier is probably getting ready to bring back this Panther as soon as it's gone. Maybe he wants to repair it. Maybe he just wants to bring it back as soon as the wreck is down, right? There we go. Spinning out of control, and the Brigadier is probably going to be coming in to bring it back up to speed in just a wee moment. Unless that happens. Unless artillery destroys it. How frustrating. I think Executor was just getting right ready there. He's probably had his finger right on the mouse button. Right on top, the cursor right on top of the tank, just waited to go for it, but no, denied. Artillery destroying that wreck. That is the best way of starting it. Still, there's quite a few wrecks out here. We've got the Martyr that's destroyed over here. We have a scout car, I believe, right there that's been destroyed. So that's a few more things that they could easily pick up. But still need to be a bit careful because these wrecks are quite close on the front, wouldn't you say so? I mean, look at that. We've got wrecks here. AT gun trying to be destroyed by the Fallschirmjägers to no avail because, well, I guess they're just not strong enough. Maybe they're too far away. Maybe if they keep on pummeling away at it, then hey-ho. Massive blob coming in. This is definitely something I don't like seeing in this game. Massive blob by the Brits. And so how are the PE going to take this on? Well, I have absolutely no idea, but we'll have to see. Okay? Usually one of the best ways of taking on a Brit blob is to first kill the officers and lieutenants. But sometimes that can be a really hard thing, especially since 2.602 with all the benefits that have been coming on. You know, the extra aura range, for example. So, you know, maybe it's a bit of a difficult thing. Oh my gosh, what are these PE doing here? They're throwing away 2 Panthers for nothing to try and destroy this one single Firefly. Maybe they're going to be able to do it. It doesn't really look like it. In fact, 2 Panthers going down for absolutely nothing. We had 1 Panther go down from maybe the Brits. I'm not exactly sure. We had 1 go down from this AT gun over here, getting an instant veterancy 2 on it. As you guys can see, this is what I mean. If you have the choice between AT guns or just normal infantry who don't have any officers beside them for instance, then obviously go for the AT guns. I mean, these things are very, very useful, especially with the higher veterancies to get extra penetration and such like that. And so, you know, it's definitely a good thing if you want to have a better fighting force. Let your important units get that veterancy. Okay, so not every unit needs that veterancy. Get the important ones with it. All right. As you guys can see in the chat, Brigga is getting everything back. Yep, he surely damn well is. That is really what he's doing. We've also got a Funkwagen Vampire half-track out on the field. But why is he out on this territory? I have no idea. He should be trying to go on the enemy sectors. You know, would definitely be a better idea. In fact, if I was maybe the PE, what I would do is maybe put down my Funkwagen over here, because I think this place has been relatively untouched the entire game. So that might be a good idea. Put it on that sector, and then, you know, somewhere in the corner, and, you know, the allies are going to be searching everywhere trying to look for it, and it's just going to delay them from actually winning this match. For example, right? Okay, so Funkfag is still staying there. I think the only reason you would have it there is to maybe see what your opponent has in the Fog of War. That's all I could imagine. So, in fact, if maybe we go to turn on the Fog of War, what can we see? Well, all we can see is up to this area. So by having this sort of funk wagon right there, you can sort of see on the minimap at the moment there's a few infantry sections over here, which if I deactivate the fog of war, hey ho, hello, there you go, peekaboo. And there's the infantry sections. Yep, pretty much. Also, other nifty thing, as you guys can see, is the Goliaths coming out of that funk wagon as well, hiding in the beside the tree just to get some camouflage, and maybe somebody's gonna land on top of it. All right. 2 snipers out for the Americans. Gonna be great at countering all these foe makers. So if the Brit blobs wasn't hard enough to deal with, now we've also got a few snipers out. That's gonna make the job even more difficult for the PE over here. So the snipers just on camouflage, gonna be going back into camouflage, and look at them, picking off these guys very, very easily. Gonna be big losses here for the PE if that keeps on going down. They need to take out these snipers in some sort of manner. Actually, one thing I want to see is if the PE can see the camouflage snipers. Yes, he can. With that funk wagon, he can still see them walking about there, even though they're camouflaged. He can still see them. Very nifty stuff. Funk wagon is definitely an expendable unit. If you're the PE and you need to locate enemy snipers, you know, obviously there's that problem with enemy snipers and PE. They're hard to take on. But, you know, the best ways to take on the snipers with the PE is probably with a scout car, for example. In my opinion, the AT half-track can work sometimes if you use focused firing and they're revealed. But the funk wagon is another great way to do it. If you suspect the enemy snipers to be in one area, then just throw that down somewhere, and there you go. You can start spotting them in the fog of war. Even though they might be camouflaged, then you just bring your infantry towards them, and that's pretty much it. You can start pummeling away at them. Right, get the Gewehr 43 to slow them down, maybe get some MP44s to actually just finish them off, and it's easy as that. Okay, so 146 for the PE over here, the aSIIS, 351 for the Americans. The PE have 2 VP hold at the moment, and the Brits are coming down at this location. We've also got some butterfly bombs coming down by the Luftwaffe over here, and so they are just going to be trying to protect that area right there, saturated with butterfly bombs. Heading on over to Guns Blazing, he's gone for that Scorched Earth. So this is quite a while ago. I know it's 35 minutes into the game, quite a while ago, but he went for that Scorched Earth, and that's why we have this area being currently activated on with the ability. Also, the most useful thing about Scorched Earth is, I suppose, a lot of different things. I mean, definitely, you know, destroying VPs, for example, that's great. Also, the Hummels are definitely another great thing. I think we saw a Hummel somewhere. Yeah, there's a Hummel right there. And, you know, if I was thinking about the PE at the moment, maybe a good idea right now might be actually to start thinking about destroying these VPs, you know, Scorched Earthing them. A lot of people say that it's quite abusive. They don't like the whole point of Scorched Earth destroying VPs because it sort of negates the aspect of what VPs is all about. I agree to that to some extent, but then again, I disagree with it to some extent because it's not like the whole entire PE faction, the whole entire PE, you know, can actually just disable points as freely as they want to. It's not possible with every single doctrine. As you all know, it's only the Scorched Earth that can actually do that. So, you know, the Scorched Earth has pros and cons compared to the other doctrinal choices of the PE. I would say that the Tank Destroyer doctrine is the least used. Oh god, least used of all doctrinal choices, with the probably Luftwaffe and the Scorched Earth in a tie with most used. I would say maybe Scorched Earth would be a bit more used nowadays, but you know, it's only the Scorched Earth that can actually use that ability to disable points, and so I think in that respect it's absolutely fine. It's just part of the game, it's part of strategy, and there you go, right? Panzerfaust trying to finish off the Sherman Firefly, but come on, at half health, that's not going to finish off the Sherman Firefly. No way. You need at least another Panzerfaust to actually think about destroying it. And so it's going to get away kind of, well, harmed, but at the same time unharmed. At least it's still alive, right? And again, the Expendable Army, Burger Tiger over here, just trying to bring back stuff to life. I mean, we had some casualties here with the Panther going down, and also a Martyr. But, you know, the thing about it is that the PE didn't even make those in the first place. Well, I suppose they did make it in the first place, but they brought it back to life. So technically, it wasn't really theirs. Oh gosh, everything is just going down, and exactly my title here, the Expendable Army, because he's bringing back everything to life. then just losing it as if it didn't even matter. And that's a bad thing, you know. All this stuff is for free. All of the stuff that you're getting is for free by the COH. Keep it alive. It's easy as that. Keep it alive and just don't lose it. Also, because remember, that veterancy is important. If you have a veterancy 3 Panther, for example, and you lose it, and a COH repairs it, gets it back to life, it's not going to have that veterancy 3 anymore. It's going to go straight back down to veterancy 0, and you're not going to have anything for it. So that even though this is sort of a lifesaver, getting your vehicles back, it's not exactly, you know, the end all to actually winning this game. Alright, the veterancy is definitely a big part of it. Okay, RT the Burger ASAP, please. That's quite funny. Insane is just going a little bit crazy here because he realizes that there's been so many wrecks. There's so many wrecks out on the field, and obviously it's kind of, you know, obvious that the COH is going to be trying to bring him back out onto the field, right? So maybe the artillery is trying to get onto that COH as soon as possible. We've got another Panther battle group just coming out. Oh gosh, artillery destroying 2 of the wrecks right there and there, and the COH are taking massive damage from this artillery. Is it going to go down by chance? I have absolutely no idea. The Hummel is moving back. I'd love to see what's going to be going on here. Oh god, another Panther going down again. Just the Expendable Army just wasting stuff for no reason. Oh my god, this COH is almost dead. He's almost finished this 1 Panther, and it doesn't look like the artillery is going to finish it off. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Another bad thing about the COH and bringing stuff back to life is that sometimes I believe there's a chance that the things that they bring back to life will have a repaired gun, and it'll be in a full state of you know, functionality. But at times, sometimes when they bring it back to life, well, it's not going to be the case. It's actually going to have like a destroyed weapon, for example, right? COH, Hummel is just going down right there, and still he's totally disregarding the artillery that's coming down on him. I'd love to see the Luftwaffe get in there and maybe repair this freaking COH, because now it's definitely got no chance when Sherman Fireflies are right there. So the PE, I think, we're getting way too comfortable with their COH, you know, way too comfortable in just all these free sort of wrecks coming out, that they were sort of disregarding just keeping their units alive. Simple as that. I mean, definitely the micro has been going down here for the PE, and it's just been as simple as that. They've had such a great pleasure and being comfortable with getting all these free wrecks back to life that they've just completely forgotten about the micro of this game, and now they're sort of suffering with that because now everything is just dead. Okay, they don't have any units alive. They don't have anything important. They've got a Panther here with a destroyed turret that's on the run. They've got a few infantry, Funkwagen over here, Verbal Wind over there. I suppose they're probably saving up for another Panther battle group, but that's probably about it. And so they have suffered the consequences, using so many Panther battle groups, losing all those tanks. Now they can't even afford another COH, now they have nothing to defend their front, and so the Americans and the Allies are taking advantage of this, destroying the wrecks right now. Funkwagen is gone, destroying the wrecks, putting down defenses, tank traps, and everything, because they're going to be going in for a VP win. Oh god, no! Brit, what are you doing? You're ruining the defensive structures and destroying the buildings at the same time. Fair enough, okay. So just putting down these tank traps right there, probably gonna fix the barbed wire, because now the Brits sort of ruined it. Good job, you Sherman Firefly. Good job. Good stuff by the Americans. I love this. They're solidifying the positions of everything here. MG nests everywhere. They're taking advantage of the moment while they can. Whilst the PE is on the back foot, they have no units. The COH is gone. They're setting up some heavy defenses on the VPs. All right. Atomic is saying, good game, threw it away. I agree. You know, it was a good game, but you guys sort of did throw it away there. Oh man, he's crawling about. Man, they had to make this stuff really realistic, didn't they? Oh, and he's even quivering. This is horrible. Oh god, that's horrible. That is horrible. That actually saddens me in a way. I know it's sort of a game, but you know, that sort of saddens me to see a man who's dying, bleeding, quivering, pawing at the ground. Oh my god, that's horrible. Anyway, so it looks like, yeah, the Atomic saying, yeah, Panthers died too fast. Yep, I agree. You just sort of were a bit too bold with them. Panthers, great units, but they can still die. They're not God, right? You know, they're not invincible. They don't have God mode. So they should have been a lot more careful of them. The micro was really going downhill for them there. If they kept everything alive, if they kept that Burger Tiger going, pumping away at repairing things and bringing Rex back to life, then I definitely think the PE could easily have won this game. Because they would have had an expendable amount of forces, an army of tanks and metal and gears and wheels, whatever, that would be just non-stop pushing at the Brits. But unfortunately, that went downhill because all these Brits were just doing a massive amount of damage on these vehicles, and that was just too much for the PE to handle, right? Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. Okay, now just before I'm going to finish this replay, I'm just going to tell you guys with that wee message from the beginning of the cast. If you're interested in being part of that live stream that I'm going to hold on Saturday, then check the description box below for the link to the event. It will give you all the information about what the rounds are going to be like. It's going to give you everything that you need, for example, to know, and including the link of where the live stream is going to be, exact time it's going to be going on, such like that, right? Okay, so I really look forward to you guys participating in that and meeting all of you and talking to you guys. It's going to be a great time. And, well, I'll see you then. Alright, so until then, see you all later. Ta-ta.